Welcome to another episode of FPL Expectations with me, Craig. Today we're going to be focusing on the Community Shield between Liverpool versus Arsenal. And I've needed backup for today, and I've brought the one and only BabyWhales, top 20k finisher in the world in his FPL career. I think you've done that twice, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely. BabyWhales here, League League champion 2013-2014, World Cup Fantasy champion 2014, European Cup Fantasy champion 2016. Some say I'm a jack of all trades, master of all, but I like to keep it humble at the end of the day, and looking forward to another Fantasy Premier League season.
Yeah, we're going to go straight into it. Liverpool versus Arsenal tonight. There's always a clamour for everyone to get Liverpool and Arsenal assets into the team, especially this season with someone like Aubameyang as a midfielder. But we're going to start from the back. And Alisson in the Liverpool goal, £6 million. Is he someone that you consider, or is it someone that you feel just takes up a Liverpool slot?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, Alisson, what can you say? £6 million pounds. I mean, if looking at his scores from last season, 122 total points, it's always a safe bet, right? But once again, with Liverpool, you're not really looking for that much defensive returns. You're always looking at the attacking returns. So the question always comes: oh, should I choose Robertson? Should I choose Trent? Should I choose VVD? Which is a bit sad for Alisson in a way, because he's always outperforming and outshining. To me, he's a very, very underrated Liverpool player. But in terms of fantasy, of course, we need to consider the attacking returns. And if you jump straight into attacking the returns, there's only one name out there, which is Trent Alexander-Arnold. I mean, there's no way you're not going to fit Trent into your team. I think that's the first name should be any fantasy first draft. It should be Trent.
Yeah, we'll come on to the defenders in just a bit. But, going back with Alisson, he's 100% guaranteed to start, 38 games of the season as long as he is fit. With that, Liverpool defensively generally do okay. But we also saw the rise of Nick Pope last season, and he scored some fantastic returns. And he got great value for his price tag. Will Alisson probably just be a little bit too much?
Yeah, you're looking at it. Alisson doesn't even make the top 10 of fantasy scorers, and he was almost in the team. I mean,
but is that down to the fact that he missed games through injury?
Well, yes, of course. But would Liverpool have kept the clean sheets? I mean, arguably, but still, Pope is finishing 50 points ahead of him. That's a solid 10 games in front, assuming bonus points. So at the end of the day, is it really worth it? I mean, I think maybe it was positioned at around 5.5. That would have been a bit fairer. But ultimately, I think it's just too much distraction in the Liverpool backline. You're still looking at attractive price points for Trent, for Robertson, and for VVD. And
Alisson,
Van Dijk. Yeah.
So Alisson a bit overpriced. We're going to move to the Arsenal goalkeeping situation now. Bernd Leno is the Arsenal number one, but in his absence after the injury that he suffered, Martinez stepped up to the plate, came in, performed heroically, I felt, for Arsenal, really shored up that defense. Is there a real battle between Leno and Martinez for this position, or is it set in stone that Leno, now that he's back from his injuries, he's in full fitness, he's played preseason, is it set in stone that he's going to be Arsenal's number one starting the season?
I'll tell you what, I would hate to be the Arsenal goalkeeping coach right now, because it's a blessing and a curse. You've got two great goalkeepers with you, and I say great as a complete understatement. Leno, I mean, at the end of the day, 30 games versus Martinez, who had 7. But if you look at all the statistics, Martinez has just come in and wiped the floor with Leno. I mean, you look at the goals conceded, 0.9 for Martinez versus 1.3 for Leno. Minutes per goals conceded, 98 for Martinez, 68 for Leno. He just ticks all the boxes. Save percentage, 81.8 versus 74.2. So at the end of the day, Martinez, I think he has outshone and definitely has outperformed what he was meant to do. Now, can you say the quantum of games that he's played with is not a good measure? Perhaps, but he has played against Chelsea, he has played against Liverpool, he had plays against Wolves and kept the clean sheet away from home there against Adama Traore and Jimenez. So it's not easy. But as you said, Leno has played preseason. That does give an indicator of where Arteta is going with this. Leno
There
at
are also
five,
there are also
yeah.
rumors linking Martinez with a move away from the club. Obviously, he feels that he's performed really well, deserves to be in a position where he starts games for any club that he chooses to to go to. And
Yeah.
you know, I mean, he does have a point, doesn't he?
Yeah. Look, I mean, at the end of the day, yes, there is maybe Arteta is bringing Leno back just for fitness and whatever else. But Leno at 5 versus Martinez at 4.5. My advice is just stay away until perhaps I think tonight would be a really good indicator of who Arteta would actually choose. But they are just one fumble away from losing their place. So
Yeah.
I would say for the Arsenal goalkeeping assets, as attractive as Martinez is at 4.5, even Leno at 5, there are still safer options with Lloris with a great schedule with Tottenham at 5 at that same price point. So unfortunately, two great goalkeepers, but for fantasy wise, you know, I don't think they're viable at the moment.
Okay, we're going to move on to the next position now, and it's the tasty one, the juicy one, where there's some absolute premium assets there. It's going to be the defenders, and you know you touched on Trent Alexander-Arnold, and you know how he returns, you know, so fantastically in FPL with his assists and goals. As you mentioned just now, he should be the first name down on every FPL manager's team sheet.
Yep, absolutely. Now, in order to discuss about whether it's Trent Alexander or Robertson, I mean, let's get the big elephant / Virgil out of the way first. All right. Now, VVD, 5 goals last season, expected goals of 3.9, which is great to be fair. And I think he's priced at 6.5. Now, all 5 of his goals were headers, 4 of them were from set pieces. And 2 goals itself were against from Brighton. So yes, I mean, he does have that exciting combination of goals and clean sheets. But if you're going to spend maybe 0.5 or 1 higher, then perhaps you want to focus on the 2 other defenders as mentioned, which is Robertson and Trent. Now, if you look at the stats, it is absolutely ridiculous for both of them, to be fair. But at the end of the day, I think with Trent, okay, let's take a look. Robertson's output from last season: 10 assists, 2 goals. In any team, that is great. Whether you're playing for Wolves or you're playing for Crystal Palace, that is a great output. You compare that with Trent, my gosh, he just completely blows him out of the water. I mean, everywhere from goals to assists to crossing. I mean, Trent just blows him out. So I think, you know, with an extra 0.5, with someone on free kicks, direct free kicks, corners as well, I think Trent's got to be your answer.
Is his fitness a concern though? Because he hasn't featured just yet. There are rumors about how fit he is. You know, there's rumors whether he'll start tonight as well. Neco Williams, in his absence, is the deputizes at right back. You know, is that a concern for FPL managers with the season 2 weeks away?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, with quarantine issues and whatever else, I mean that's obviously going to be a concern. But I can't see Trent not starting against Leeds. They need a good start to the season. Marco Bielsa as well he's a great coach. He's got tactics and he's going to have an ace up his sleeve. So I'm quite sure Klopp, if Trent doesn't start this, I'm quite convinced Trent would get some minutes this evening. If he doesn't, I'm sure he'll just be preserving him for the Leeds game. So I'm very well expected for Trent to start. Yeah.
All right, we're going to move on to Arsenal's defensive assets. And, you know, Arsenal not renowned for being strong defensively. But they have an interesting position at right back that's kind of, you know, Hector Bellerin. It's been a bit of a problem position for them over the last couple of years. Bellerin, you know, he's been in and out of form, had a few injuries. You had Maitland-Niles that's filled in there. I think Mustafi as well at one stage, Callum Chambers. But now they've got Cedric Suarez from Southampton, which they obviously had on loan for the second part of last season. They've made that permanent now. Is he a threat to Bellerin's position? You know, at 5 million, it does look a little bit tasty though.
I mean, to answer your question straight away, yes, he is definitely a threat to Bellingham's position, and rightly so. Now, I've seen Cedric play in Southampton. Now, just on an eye test, he is a great player. I think he's had a combination of 2 goals in the Premier League, and I'm not too sure of the assist. But at the end of the day, the fact that Arsenal brought him as a backup and as competition for Bellerin, I think it's a huge statement, not of intent for Arsenal, but for Bellerin himself, because Bellerin needs competition in that area, and Cedric Suarez, he fits in perfectly, and where Bellerin can't. If you look at his defensive stats with Suarez in the team, I think Arsenal have definitely conceded less. Yes, with Martinez in goal as well. And Bellerin and Suarez, to me, they have the same expected attacking output. So it's definitely a threat. Like Martinez and Leno, I think they're just one mistake away, one missed pass away from dropping out of the team. Now they're both at 5 though, and Bellerin, this is very attractive, obviously, because we know his attacking outputs. This is his lowest price point since 2014, 2015. So if there's any chance to take a gamble, I suppose it would be now. If you were really wanting to go with Bellerin or Cedric Suarez, my money would be on Bellerin starting the season, especially Ashley Maitland-Niles touted to be out of Arsenal now. So it's just 2 of them vying. Suarez can potentially play both left back and right back. So I think Bellerin would be good to start. But ultimately, I think for Arsenal, if anything, for defensive assets, you're only looking for at the first 3 game weeks, because after that they play first top, I think 4 of the top 5 of the Premier League after. So I would try to stay away. But if you are a hardcore Arsenal fan and you really want those attacking right backs and wing backs, if it's not Tierney, then you're looking at Bellerin or Suarez. I'll take Bellerin.
Yeah, Kieran Tierney at 5.5, who's also a little bit tasty. That really is.
1 goal, 2 assists in 7 starts.
There you go. Yeah. Would you pay the extra 0.5 for that though, when you get a guaranteed starter? I mean, I think it's safe to say that he's a guaranteed starter, and he's got that attacking output as well.
Absolutely. If I didn't look at the schedule, I would definitely say yes. Arguably a nailed on, I suppose, but yeah, I think if you really wanted an Arsenal defender, Tierney is your way to go. You just pay that 0.5 premium and problem solved.
Yeah. When it comes to Arsenal defensively, you're really banking on them to have more of an output going forward than banking on clean sheets, aren't you? I mean, you wouldn't be trusting the David Luiz at the back.
Absolutely, it's a poor man's Liverpool at the end of the day. I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, Liverpool, you are banking on attacking returns, and obviously they're a bloody good team, like with the clean sheets as well. But Arsenal, clean sheets. Well, if your goalkeeper gets voted Arsenal Player of the Season in Leno, well, that doesn't really say much, does it? I think at the end of the day. So yeah.
All right, we're going to quickly move on to the midfielders now, and we've got the obvious assets in Oba, Salah, and Mane, who over the years have performed really well. From a fantasy football point of view, but I mean, Oba coming back a position from that forward line into midfield makes it very interesting, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it doesn't make sense not to have Aubameyang, especially for the first 2 games, away to Fulham. I think he's got the captain armband for now over Salah, and the fact that he's
even though Salah's up against Leeds.
Yeah, but I mean. Okay, yes. I mean, Salah. I mean, he's versus Mane. Salah's, got a lot of shots against goal, and yes, he's against Leeds at home. Yes, Liverpool want a clean start, but at the end of the day, if James Milner is playing, Salah's not guaranteed to be on pens. Oba, I would say yes, Williams in the team, but he's definitely on penalties, and he's going to play the full 90 minutes. Don't know whether Origi or some other joker like a Brewster or whatever else might come on for Salah, especially if they're like 3-4-0 up. I don't know. I don't expect Liverpool to be 3-4-0 up against Leeds anyway. I'm just putting it out there, or I'm putting it where my money is. Hopefully, it's not a whitewash and I look stupid. But at the end of the day, yeah, I think Oba has got to be your guy, even at 12 million. You need him.
Well, they're all
Perhaps
priced at
you
12
might
million,
consider
aren't they? Salah, Mane,
absolutely,
and Oba.
absolutely. Now, once again, though, based on the fixtures, I would expect people to perhaps transition from Oba to maybe a Bruno Fernandes or a KDB once the Manchester United and Man City engine gets up and running. But I think for now, Oba is definitely a must.
A must.
And versus all other Arsenal midfielders, okay, you have great options at 8 with Pepe, Willian 8 as well. Is Willian a guaranteed starter? Remains to be seen. But I think with the pedigree that he has, I think if you looked at the fantasy stats for last year, only 2 midfielders above 8 had created more chances than him, and that includes KDB, who scored the highest. So at the end of the day, I think Oba now slotted into midfield at 12. You have to pay that premium because once you have Oba in the team, you don't have to worry about an Arsenal forward. You don't even need a space for an Arsenal midfielder anymore. Yeah, he kind of solves 2 in 1. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just like looking at that, you mentioned Pepe and obviously Willian coming into the team. Pepe expected to have a big second season at Arsenal after they paid that premium price for him. But is there a real possibility that you could have Pepe off the left, Willian off the right, and Aubameyang up front? Because if that's so, I mean, it could appeal for Aubameyang a lot more.
Yeah. To me, I think that would be the most obvious choice. But we do have a Lacazette issue. We do have a Eddie Nketiah issue. You've seen Arteta, even after Project Restart, using Nketiah above Lacazette during the first few games. So it's a bit hard to say. It is roulette. Once again, with this 12, yes, he is 4 million above both Pepe and Willian, but I think that 4 mil just guarantees starts.
Yeah,
he's wearing the captain's armband. He's going to be there. He's unplayable when it comes down to it, especially during the last game of the season. As you can see him scoring 2 goals and assisting 2. So I mean, it's a no-brainer for me.
Okay, and that old debate between Salah and Mane. I mean, how do you call that one?
Oh God, I think yes, Salah.
Flip of the coin.
Yes, I mean Mane's goal conversion ratio to shots, I think, is a lot higher. Salah just peppers you with shots at the end of the day. So yes, Salah did finish once again slightly above Mane. If they're both at 12, my money has got to be with Salah.
Yeah, but
and this is the 3rd season in a row Salah has finished above Mane, so he has historical record to go with it.
Does set pieces come into that? Because you got your pens and free kicks, and I know Trent's probably favorite for the free kicks, but on penalties, Salah is still the man to go to.
Absolutely, and James Milner, we say he's getting old every year. I would say this is probably his swan song, if anything. And if Liverpool love to keep him, I'm very happy because that'll make their defense much easier to penetrate. But yeah, I don't expect James Milner to be on the pitch much. That would mean Salah still getting those attacking returns on pens. So once again, if anything, that's a no-brainer for me. I do have some friends that are going Mane. I'm encouraging them to do it because obviously I want to beat them. So yes, please let's stick with Salah and not be silly here.
So those are the premium players that we have in midfield. I'm going to go down a little bit to the 5.5 section where I've seen a lot of draft teams. Naby Keita has featured a lot. He's been in good form for Liverpool in pre-season. At 5.5, him. There's also Bukayo Saka for Arsenal as well. I'm not sure how he fits into that Arsenal midfield. He did impress last season, bursting onto the scene. That 5.5 battle between the two of them. I mean, if you had 5.5 to spare, who would you pick?
Yeah.
Who would you be picking?
Well, Naby Keita. I mean, the one thing I can ask, and I'll definitely ask you back, is he a guaranteed starter?
Yeah.
Once again, I don't know. There's just so much competition in that midfield. You have the writers' player of the season last year, Jordan Henderson. Do not know how he's won that. But he's in midfield. You got Wijnaldum, arguably, I would say, the most underrated Liverpool player behind Alisson. In that Liverpool team, and then you got Fabinho, class signing as well, quality when he's on the pitch. So
if Thiago, if he comes,
a real toss up. And the buying Thiago. At the end of the day, like I don't see how he can break in, and if he does, is he really getting you the points? A box to box midfielder, but ultimately, might as well go with Conte. To be fair,
or Souček, or say Maximum at 5. Not too bad options either, are
that's
they?
Another video, Craigie. That's another video. These are my tasty gems, BabyWhales gems. But yeah, currently both of them are in my squad at the moment. So yeah.
Tasty.
And just to reflect back on Saka, what quality? I mean, like pure talent. Definitely future England international. Some are really surprised at actually why he wasn't chosen to be in England. I mean, to be honest, I mean Greenwood really. I mean, come on. I mean, let's not be silly here. But no, I think he's missed out. But I think he's the one to keep an eye on for the future for Arsenal, but also for fantasy, because now you have the Williams as you pointed out, and we've seen the use of Joe Willock as well during the FA Cup, and Arteta just likes to mix it up with his youth. Now the disadvantage with Saka is, yes, amazing, he can play on the left, but the disadvantage is he can also play on the left wing. So if Tierney is knocked out injured, or one of our centre backs, I can imagine Tierney going back to centre back and Saka playing on the left wing.
Yeah.
Does it count as midfield? Not really, but you're not really going to get the defensive returns as well. So for 5.5, I'll stay away. If he was at a 5 or 4.5, maybe I'll take a punt. But 5.5, I think, is just money, better investment elsewhere.
All right, we're going to move on to the forward line now, and this is something which it's a bit of a hard one to call. I mean,
do we have a forward line? I'm not.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Firmino, we've seen the returns from him over the last few seasons. From an FPL perspective, he really doesn't do the business for the money that he costs. But he's a fantastic player from a footballing perspective.
That is so unfair on Firmino.
So I've decided not to include him in our discussion. But I'm going to go straight to Arsenal here, because who plays in that number 9 role? Is it going to be Alexander Lacazette, Eddie Nketiah, or will Aubameyang move up front? And as we discussed earlier, Pepe on the left and Willian on the right.
Ultimately, I think that's the headache, and that's the beauty of Arsenal now, especially bringing in someone with the experience of Willian to complement and to just create a beautiful orchestra at the front. I mean, Willian, everyone's just complaining, you're giving him a 3-year contract, 100 over £1,000 a week, blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, what has he got in his locker? He's got experience. He's got free kicks. He's still going to take you on, and I'm quite sure he's definitely faster than me, and I'm quite sure he's faster than Craig. So I'm quite he's definitely going to do the business in still in the league. I can imagine him being if not a semi-regular, a definite regular, like for Arsenal. Okay, now that gives us the option then of not playing Lacazette. On that note, though, Lacazette in fantasy this year is at 8.5. He had a total score of 118. Not great, but at 8.5 and in that bracket, is that something that we could consider? Once again, it very much depends on tonight. Do I expect Lacazette to start? To be very honest, I don't think so. Would I want Lacazette to start? To be very honest, I don't think so, because I would love to see Willian on the left, Pepe on the right, and Aubameyang through the middle. That should be our formation. And but of course, Lacazette to come in as a substitute, maybe to get have a good showing, and then we can sell him off to Juventus. And so we'll see from there.
Lacazette priced at 8.5, same price as Danny Ings. I mean, you got some good options in that 8.5 category that probably start more regularly than Lacazette will.
Danny Ings and Jimenez at 8.5 versus Lacazette at 8.5. Now, I'm an Arsenal fan, and I'm a die-hard Arsenal fan, and I love Lacazette like a blood to bits. But fact of the matter is, he's not going anywhere. He's definitely not going into my fantasy team whatsoever.
Okay. Is Eddie Nketiah an option?
Who?
6. Eddie Nketiah for 6 million.
Oh,
I mean,
dude.
when you're looking at, that third option in your forward line, you've got a little bit of money to splurge on. Does Nketiah come into it, or are there better options elsewhere?
I don't know what the fantasy gods are playing this year. And Ketia at 6 million. You're having a laugh. Okay, he had a great performance last year. He had 25 points, right? Nothing huge to shout about. But I would say it's a semi-breakthrough season for him at the expense of last season at 8.5. But at 6, I mean, come on, just give us a break here. I mean, even if you pushed it up to 5, I would say it may be worth a punt. 4.5, still doubtable. But at 6, please. I mean, I don't even think he's worthy of discussion here. It's definitely a no-go. I think.
Okay, we'll end that. We'll just end that on that. With that top in regard to that topic, Brewster. Now Brewster has been on fire for Liverpool in pre-season. 3 goals in 2 games. 4.5. Now, if you're looking for that forward line bench fodder, surely he's your man.
Well, I don't know. I think Origi at 5.5 would have something to say about that, like surely. but I mean, like a battle between Origi and Brewster. I don't think many are going to buy a ticket for that. So ultimately, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not huge on forward Liverpool attackers. I mean, if we're not entertaining Firmino at 9.5, why would anyone entertain Brewster at 4.5? I mean, I think for attackers is Salah and Mane all the way. If you're looking to save money, maybe Wijnaldum, who got 107, he's priced at 5.5. But for Brewster, as attractive as he is, yes, he's banging in the goals. Fucking the Klopp. I mean, do we really see him playing? I don't know. I really can't see it. I really can't see it. Yeah.
Okay. I'm just going to say at 4.5, if he does go out, if Klopp does loan him to a fellow Premier League club, I mean, that is something that you've got to watch out for. There's still time in that transfer window. There's still a couple of weeks to
I think
start
clubs,
of the season.
Yeah. I think clubs, whether it's a West Brom, I think was a aging attack in Charlie Austin, or whether it's Leeds, Bamford, goals conversion ratio is absolutely atrocious.
Rodrigo just got signed today. Rodrigo just got signed today. And whether he plays up front is a different thing, which James did highlight in our show yesterday. But BabyWhales, it's been fantastic having you on. Thanks for that insight into Liverpool and Arsenal assets. I'm guessing you're going to be watching the Community Shield tonight. Any predictions?
To be honest, I think we're going to give it a good go. Obviously, we're the underdogs here. I mean, I'm not being biased whatsoever, but obviously, I hope Arsenal win. I think we're the better team, definitely. But yeah, hopefully, Liverpool don't kick on from where they left off, and they still have a hangover from last season. We did beat them during the tail end of last season as well. And so I think this is where Arteta can show his quality. And yeah, well, I'm excited to see who starts in goal for Arsenal tonight. Looks like it's going to be Leno, but I hope it's Martinez. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that, BabyWhales. And thank you for watching wherever you are in the world. If you haven't already, do give us a subscribe and do like the video if you have enjoyed it. If you'd like us to talk about something FPL related, do drop us a comment in the comment box down below. We'll be back tomorrow to analyze and see exactly how the Liverpool and Arsenal assets got on. Till next time.